Eco9 is sponsored by your Washington area Toyota dealers.
Here at WUSA 9. Why, you love that?
Well, it's such lovely music, and sort of like the story we're
feeling
giving
it.
you is not the nicest,
And
right?
I know. It doesn't match.
No.
We're trying to do better with that, but it's important. It's an important topic.
It is.
And we know we're committed to reporting on the environment because of its impact on our lives, and that's why today we wanted to dive into a headline you may have seen about crabs in the Chesapeake Bay.
Yes, we're talking about this decision in Virginia to lift a 15-year-old ban on a very controversial method of catching crabs. It is raising some big alarms in Maryland, and now you got watermen in both states at odds with each other?
Yeah, so we know there is a lot to this story, and if you like crabs, I know a lot of people do, myself included, we think you'll want to know more. Here's our environmental reporter Scott Broom on the Chesapeake Bay.
Well, let's look at it this way. Chesapeake Bay blue crabs are a resource, right? There are only so many of them.
Crabs are scarce.
You can't catch them all and eat them all, or there won't be enough to reproduce for next year. That is the fundamental problem going on right now between Maryland and Virginia, the two states that have to cooperate to manage the crabs in the Chesapeake Bay.
The controversy is about a certain way of catching crabs called winter dredging. As you can see in this video, it's a method only scientists use because fishermen have been banned from doing it for 15 years. Winter dredging is a Virginia thing because that's where Chesapeake Bay crabs migrate to in January and February. They basically hibernate in the muddy bottom in Virginia waiting for spring. The majority are females, full of eggs. And in the winter mud, they are sitting ducks for the heavy equipment used to pull them up before they've had a chance to reproduce and before they can migrate back to Maryland, where an entire industry and culture is based on catching them in the summer.
Now, back in 2008, the crab population was in big trouble, and the two states, Maryland and Virginia, agreed at that time to cooperate on a winter dredging ban, which has stuck ever since, until now.
Last month, the Virginia Marine Resources Commission, who are citizens appointed by the governor, voted to lift the ban in a 5-4 vote and against the advice of the professional biologists from state and federal agencies. The supporters of reopening winter dredging said the few Virginia watermen and seafood processors expected to try it next winter need a chance to make more money in the off-season. When the Virginia Commission voted to lift the ban in June, Maryland's Department of Natural Resources pushed back hard, pitting the two states against each other. Maryland DNR Secretary Josh Kurtz called the decision a bad day if you care about blue crabs. And at the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, the controversy sparked this conversation between WUSA 9 and Allison Colden about the end of the winter dredge fishing ban in Virginia.
That fishery targets 96% of their harvest is adult female crabs that are overwintering and have not yet had a chance to spawn, which means all of the eggs that they're carrying and are ready to spawn in the spring are taken along with them in that winter dredge fishery. Overall, on an annual basis, it was removing about 34% of all adult female crabs in the population.
Colden questioned, why now?
Over the past 5 years, we have seen a declining population of blue crabs overall, which has thrown up real red flags for scientists and groups like ours.
This is not over yet. The Commission in Virginia is going to meet again in September to decide how much dredging in the winter may or may not be allowed now that the ban is gone. And that is how a story about dredging up crabs out of the mud in January down in Virginia became big news here on the Chesapeake Bay in the middle of a long, hot summer, where scarce crabs go for as much as $95 a dozen at the restaurant. On the Chesapeake Bay, Scott Broom, WUSA.